Chapter 121 That divine law orders man according to reason in regard to corporeal and sensible things. Now, just as man's mind may be raised up to God by means of corporeal and sensible things, if one use them in a proper way to revere God, so, too, the improper use of them either completely distracts the mind from God, and so the end of the will is fixed in inferior things, or such abuse slows down the inclination of the mind toward God so that we become attached to things of this kind to an extent greater than is necessary. But the divine law was given for this chief purpose, so that man might cling to God. Therefore, it does pertain to the divine law to order man in regard to his love and use of bodily and sensible things. Again, as man's mind is subordinated to God, so is the body subordinated to the soul, and the lower powers to reason. But it pertains to divine providence, of which divine law is but a rational plan proposed by God to man, to see that individual things keep their proper order. Therefore, man must be so ordered by divine law that his lower powers may be subject to reason, and his body to his soul, and so that external things may subserve the needs of man. Besides, any law that is rightly established promotes virtue. Now, virtue consists in this, that both the inner feelings and the use of corporeal things be regulated by reason. So, this is something to be provided for by divine law. Moreover, it is the function of every lawmaker to determine by law the things without which observation of the law is impossible. Now, since law is proposed to reason, man would not follow the law unless all the other things which belong to man were subject to reason. So, it is the function of divine law to command the submission to reason of all the other factors proper to man. Thus it is said, "Let your service be reasonable," and again, "This is the will of God, your sanctification." By this conclusion we refute the error of some people who say that the use of certain foods is illicit in itself. Of these the Apostle speaks in the same place, "In the last times some shall depart from the faith, forbidding to marry, to abstain from meats which God created to be received with thanksgiving." Now, since the use of food and sexual capacities is not illicit in itself, but can only be illicit when it departs from the order of reason, and since external possessions are necessary for the taking of food, for the upbringing of offspring and the support of a family, and for other needs of the body, it follows also that the possession of wealth is not in itself illicit, provided the order of reason be respected. That is to say, a man must justly possess what he has, he must not set the end of his will in these things, and he must use them in a fitting way for his own and others' benefit. Hence, the Apostle does not condemn the rich, but he gives them a definite regulation for the use of their wealth, when he says, "Charge the rich of this world not to be high-minded, nor to trust in the uncertainty of riches, but to be rich in good works, to give easily, to communicate to others." And in Ecclesiasticus, "Blessed is the rich man that is found without blemish, and that hath not gone after gold, nor put his trust in money nor in treasure." By this we also set aside the error of those who, as Augustine says in his book on heresies, most arrogantly call themselves apostolics, because they refuse to accept into their communion those who practice marriage, and who possess goods of their own, and also many monks and clerics. But these men are thereby heretics, for, in separating themselves from the Church, they think that there is no hope for those who use these things which they do without.